Galatea, DCAU. Galatea was a clone created by Professor Hamilton from a DNA sample extracted from Supergirl. Galatea is a recurring antagonist during the second season Justice League Unlimited. She is a clone of Kara Inze aka Supergirl and was created without her or Superman's knowledge by Professor Emil Hamilton, formerly of Star Labs, under the aegis of Project Cadmus, a semi-governmental project created to curb and challenge the growing power of metahumans on Earth, in particular, the Justice League. Galatea's character design somewhat resembles that of Supergirl's other universe counterpart, Power Girl, who, while heroic, is also more aggressive and sometimes easily enraged. Like Galatea, Power Girl is also physically more mature than Supergirl. She is Supergirl's arch-nemesis. She was voiced by Nicole Tom, who also voiced Supergirl in Justice League Unlimited. Creation. During the final episodes of Superman the Animated Series, the Man of Steel fell victim to brainwashing by the alien overlord Darkseid, becoming his right hand as he led Apocalypse's invasion of Earth. In fighting to stop her cousin, Supergirl was badly injured before bringing him out of Darkseid's control. Once a close ally of Superman's, Professor Emil Hamilton had been terrified by the power he had used against Earth, and refused to aid Kara in recovering from her injuries. Enraged and with her life on the line, Superman threatened Hamilton into saving Supergirl, and though he quickly apologized, the fear now overwhelmed the professor. While saving Kara, Hamilton also retained enough of her DNA to make study of. Shortly after Superman and Supergirl defeated Darkseid and made a ruin of Apocalypse, Hamilton sought out forces within the US government deeply fearful and mistrusting of metahumans, taking his research with him. Once there, he supervised the growth of a clone of Kara he named Galatea, after a legendary statue brought to life by the gods, which is, ironically or otherwise, the origin of Wonder Woman as well. Needing an edge over what he increasingly saw as the enemy Kryptonians, he sped Galatea to full maturity and allowed her to be trained as a killer. The two saw each other as father and daughter, and Hamilton took to nicknaming her T. History. Worried of the threat that Superman would cause if he went rogue again, Hamilton joined Project Cadmus and developed Galatea for the purpose of protecting humans from the likes of Superman. Cadmus thought it would be able to keep this project under wraps until Supergirl started having dreams of being chased by the military and hunting down those who knew about her. In reality, Supergirl was sharing memories with Galatea as she was hunting down those who knew about her existence. Supergirl, Green Arrow, and the Question tracked her down to Nouveau Gen, the place where Galatea was created, and confronted her inside a hologram chamber where she attempted to destroy Supergirl until she was caught in an secretly engineered explosion that destroyed Nouveau Gen, Supergirl, Green Arrow, and the Question escaped, believing that the clone was destroyed. Professor Hamilton restored Galatea back to health, and with Lex Luthor's recent hijacking of the Watchtower's massive laser cannon to strike directly at Project Cadmus, making it look like it was the work of the Justice League, Amanda Waller ordered her to lead a strike team of Ultraman clones at the Watchtower itself, using special bore drill missiles to infiltrate the satellite. While the Ultraman kept most of the Justice League members in the Watchtower busy, Galatea headed straight for the power reactor core to cause it to overload. Steel and Supergirl intercepted Galatea at the reactor core to stop her, which led into another fight between the two Maids of Might, with Galatea boasting of her superior strength compared to Supergirl's. As the power core reboot finished and all systems came back on, Supergirl stopped Galatea for good by electrocuting her, using a live power cable and pinning her to a piece of machinery from which she couldn't escape. When Supergirl attempted to stop Superman, who was attacking Earth under Darkseid's control, they were caught in the blast radius of General Hardcastle's kryptonite missile. Supergirl was taken to Star Labs to be cared for by Professor Emil Hamilton, who secretly took some of her DNA. Cadmus, guided by fear of rogue metahumans, had Nouveau Gen use Supergirl's DNA to create a cloned version of her. The clone was named Galatea and artificially aged to her physical prime. Indoctrinated in Cadmus's philosophy and rigorously trained to develop her abilities to the pinnacle of her potential, she was also more ruthless and deadly with none of the moral conscience that made Supergirl hold back from killing people. However, Galatea shared a psychic link with Supergirl, who, while asleep, saw herself undertaking strenuous training and missions. These included Supergirl carrying out the murder of Nouveau Gen scientist Gilbert Hallstrom, who had objected to Galatea's creation, a killing actually committed by Galatea. Finding these dreams all too real, Supergirl investigated with the help of Green Arrow and the Question. Galatea sent troops to attack the trio, and equipment left behind by the soldiers led them to General Hardcastle, who told them about a secret organization which saw even heroic metahumans as a potential threat to mankind. Galatea later murdered Hardcastle. Galatea was already having an affair with TV reporter Lasser. She told him about the disappearance of Gilbert Hallstrom, which he reported on the TV network, along with pictures of Hallstrom. Supergirl, recognizing Hallstrom from one of her dreams, went to Nouveau Gen where she was ambushed by Galatea. Galatea had lured Supergirl into a trap because the latter's dreams were leading her to uncover the truth. She had also been troubled by Supergirl's moral conscience, which often caused her sleepless nights, as mentioned by Lasser, and sometimes interfered with her work, though she remained ruthless enough to kill people, such as Hellstrom and Hardcastle, whom she perceived as enemies. In battle, Galatea and Supergirl proved more than a match for each other, which led a Cadmus operative to destroy the building in a major explosion. Supergirl escaped the explosion, but Galatea was left seriously injured. She was taken to Star Labs to recover under the care of Professor Hamilton who, by order of Waller, also artificially accelerated her aging process up to her physical prime, granting much greater power and a noticeably more developed figure and increase in height. Hamilton and Galatea developed something of a father-slash-daughter bond, as they did care for each other's well-being on some level. Galatea even once addressed him affectionately as Daddy. The Justice League soon discovered the existence of Project Cadmus. When the feud between the two organizations reached its height, Lex Luthor hacked into and fired the Watchtower's binary fusion generator at Cadmus's headquarters. In retaliation, Cadmus unleashed Galatea on the Watchtower with an army of Ultraman clones at her command. Although the odds seemed overwhelming, the Justice League, even with its powerful founders in custody, was able to hold its own in the battle with the clones. However, this was primarily a diversion while Galatea made her way to the station's reactor to cause an explosion powerful enough to destroy it. She was confronted by Supergirl and Steel, and Galatea relished the opportunity to kill her counterparts so much that she ignored a recall order from Cadmus leader Amanda Waller, who had discovered that both sides had been manipulated by Luthor. In the end, the entire attack was thwarted and Galatea was overcome when Supergirl attacked her with a power coupling which was hooked up to the Watchtower's generator. Following the massive surge of electricity, she was left twitching and catatonic. Powers and abilities. Galatea shared the same powers as Supergirl, yet, due to her accelerated growth and the specialized training she received at Cadmus, she possessed superior strength and skill to her counterpart. Akin with her sadistic nature, Galatea seemed to favor heat vision as a primary offensive ability and used it with great skill and accuracy. Her heat vision also seemed to exert far more concussive force than Supergirl's. As an Argoan clone, Galatea was presumably vulnerable to kryptonite, red sun radiation, and magic. Powers. Cloned Kryptonian, Galatea is a Supergirl clone manipulated to reach her physical prime earlier, being able to lift over 750 tons for example. Kryptonian physiology, under the effects of a yellow sun, Galatea possesses the same potential powers as an average Kryptonian. These include solar energy absorption. Under optimal conditions, this is the main source of Galatea's superpowers as they are contingent upon exposure to solar radiation from a yellow sun star system. Her biological makeup includes a number of organs which lack analogues in humans and whose functions are unknown. It is believed that between one or more of these and her biocellular matrix, yellow solar energy is stored for later use. This allows for the use of these powers to fade when yellow solar radiation is not available instead of immediate failure. Heat vision, Galatea can, as a conscious act, fire beams of intense heat at a target by looking at it. She can vary the heat and area affected. Superhearing, Galatea's hearing is sensitive enough to hear any sound at any volume or pitch. With skill and concentration, she can block out ambient sounds to focus on a specific source or frequency. Enhanced vision, Galatea's vision processes the entire electromagnetic spectrum as well as allowing vast control over selective perception and focus. This umbrella ability includes the following. Electromagnetic spectrum vision, Galatea can see well into most of the electromagnetic spectrum. She can see and identify radio and television signals as well as all other broadcast or transmitted frequencies. Using this ability, she can avoid detection by radar or satellite monitoring methods. This also allows her to see the aura generated by living thing. Telescopic vision, this is the ability to see something at a great distance, without violating the laws of physics. Though limited, the exact extent of the ability is undetermined. In function, it is similar to the zoom lens on a camera. X-ray vision, this is the ability to see through any volume of matter except lead. Galatea's can see things behind a solid, opaque object as if it were not there. She can focus this ability to peel back layers of an object, allowing hidden image or inner workings to be observed. The exact type of energy perceived, such as X-rays, cosmic rays, or some other energy invisible to normal humans, is unclear. This ability perceives an ambient energy source though, it does not involve the eye projecting a concentrated, possibly toxic, beam to be reflected back from objects. Microscopic vision, this is the ability to see extremely small objects and images down to the atomic level. Infrared vision, Galatea can see with better acuity in darkness, and to a degree in total darkness. Flight. Galatea is able to manipulate graviton particles to defy the forces of gravity and achieve flight. This ranges from hovering to moving in any posture, in any direction. Invulnerability. Due to the interaction of her dense molecular structure and supercharged bioelectric aura, Galatea is nigh invulnerable to extreme energy forces. In addition, her extends this protection against toxins and diseases. Enhanced immunity. Superhuman stamina. Galatea is able to maintain continuous strenuous physical action for an indefinite period of time. This based on her body converting yellow solar radiation directly to energy, but is limited by physiological and psychological needs to eat, drink, and sleep. Superhuman strength. Galatea's strength is augmented by yellow solar radiation interacting with the greater than human density, resilience, and biological efficiency of her musculature. Her strength is more in active conscious will on energy fields than actual physical strength. It is this active conscious will that enables her to perform physical feats that are beyond the mere application force, such as moving a mountain top without said rock crumbling under its own mass. Superhuman speed. Galatea is able to move at incredible speed by sheer force of will. This extends to her perceptions and allows for feats such as catching bullets in mid-flight as well as covering vast distances in little or no time. This also confers superhuman agility, superhuman reflexes, superbreath. Galatea is able to create hurricane force winds by exhaling air from her lungs. She can chill the air as it leaves her lungs to freeze targets. She can also reverse the process to pull large volumes of air or vapor into her lungs. Longevity. Galatea can live longer than regular humans, remaining at her prime as long as she was under the exposure of the yellow sun. Abilities. Hand-to-hand combat, advanced. Weaknesses. Kryptonian physiology. Under the effects of a yellow sun, Galatea possesses the same potential weaknesses as an average Kryptonian. These include vulnerability to kryptonite, vulnerability to magic.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.